you know, my dad used to watch the streams, which is why I did them. You know, it's a lot of work. And I got a chance to basically hang out with my dad. And in some ways, you know, my dad's gone, but I kind of have a new dad now. Of course, nobody will ever replace my father. But, you know, I have a father-in-law. And in a lot of ways, he's kind of like a new dad. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, the trolling is, you can only go as far with it as they're willing to go. We're not exactly engaged. You know, look, marriage is one of these things that I think it's a little old fashioned. I could see us getting married just to have a nice ceremony and all that. We'd be doing it for our parents, really, my mom. And, you know, and they may not care that much, to be frank. So, you know, she's successful in her own right. So, like, a lot of times, like, if I had a girl like the DJ Khaled video right there, she's going to want the ring because she's going to want a prenup and with security, if she's going to have children, that comes with it. You know, my girlfriend doesn't have that problem. I don't have that problem. We're both independently successful. So there's no real reason to have the marriage, legal marriage, kind of protect the woman in this case. She's wonderful. She's not afraid of the stream or anything, which is great. They do have common law in New York. And I agree that kids need moms and dads together. That's critical. Almost every person I met in prison, almost every single one, came from single parent or no parent household. Without exception. I mean, it was strange. I met one kid, white boy Michael. White boy Mike, he was the only one. And he was a super cool guy. I loved this kid. But, you know, he unfortunately fell into opioid addiction. So he robbed a pharmacy for opioids. And to me, of course it's a crime. I wish I was in a resort. No, there are no resorts. Yeah, big shout out to White Boy Mike. White Boy Mike, you know, he became addicted to painkillers, which can happen to anyone. You know, his addiction drove him to do something crazy, which is to rob a pharmacy for pain meds. And, you know, he was always so sheepish. I wouldn't make fun of him too much, but we'd joke and say, you're the only guy here with the 2 parents, backyard, dog, brothers and sisters, happy family, Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. And he said, yeah. He said, it doesn't make me feel great, but it's true. I said, yeah, that's crazy, White Boy Mike. And we would talk about white guy stuff, memes, tennis, golf. The other guys didn't understand what we were talking about. They were like, tennis? Never heard of it. Swimming? You know how to swim? In the water? What? I barely know how to swim. That's the New York in me. In jail, that's the way it is. You can love it or hate it, but that's just the way it is. It's a very racial place. And, you know, it's a joke in the black community, but many black people sort of never learn to swim because it's kind of I don't know, you can YouTube and Google that, but it's oil. We're talking about oil? You know, no, look, and that's the thing. I mean, parents are important, but role models are just as important. You know, I grew up with 1 foot in the hood and 1 foot on Park Avenue. You know, I went to this very fancy high school many rich people sent their kids to, but not only rich people. And there were absentee parents. Exactly, Josh. There are a lot of absentee parents. And those absentee parents, you know, their kids, they didn't become criminals, but they certainly didn't live up to their potential. A lot of them became drug addicts or kind of just underachievers. I had some cool nicknames in prison. And no, in prison, the Albanians, we had our own crew. And Albanians are very overrepresented in prison. We love committing crimes for some reason. Not me specifically, but many Albanians do. And so when I showed up in prison, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit like, okay, I don't know what's gonna happen, man. These guys, I don't know what the tough level here is on a scale of 1 to 10. I can pull off a 3 or a 5, but I can't turn it up to 10. I'm not gonna stab some dude in the eye, you know? So I show up, and all of a sudden, I hear the bird call, "Cuckoo!" And this is the Albanian flag, by the way. This is the 2-headed eagle. And I'm like, 𝗔𝗂? That means Albanian. Albanian in Albanian. 𝗔𝗂? Like American? And they're like, 𝗔𝗂! And that was it. It was over. All Albanians in there. Felt like it was an Albanian family reunion. In fact, crazy story. I was in there. I shouldn't have mentioned the guy's name, so I'll just say, oh gosh, I don't know. I'll call him Boer, which just means guy in Albanian. And so I'm in there with this guy Boer, and he says, I know your cousin. I said, what are you talking about? He said, I know your cousin. And he names my cousin. And he says, I was with him in this place and that place, and we were in Albania together. I said, no way, it's nuts. I called my cousin because I figured the guy's lying or something. Totally, it's not protection from the mafia. There's no Albanian mafia per se. It's just sort of a collective. There was one guy in there who's a famous Albanian writer. Go figure. But he was also, he said that he was also a chemist. not the kind of chemistry I did. Pelham Parkway, there you go. So, we're countrymen, we stick together. So that was a huge relief for me. But I was cool with everyone. I knew how to communicate. I mean, you know how to talk to people and you'd be fine. You respect all people as people. You don't look down on somebody because of the way they were brought up or where they're from or whatever. It's their character. And, not everyone had a good character. In fact, a good chunk of people there didn't have good characters. But when you peel back the layers, some people, they're sort of, they're not, I hate to call them victims, but like some people are in terrible circumstances. And the question becomes, what would you do? Bill Gates, I was reading his biography, Source Code, autobiography, memoir. And, he got to go hiking and camping and he got to use computers at his high school. What if you had to take a gun to your high school? What would you do? Different world. So, the way, where you're born into, this random chance. Now, someone's asking about determinism and free will. It maybe not be random chance, but the point is, some people sort of start with a little bit better odds in some things, so to speak. And, again, I wouldn't look down on somebody because of where they started. You could look down on somebody maybe where they finished, but you also have to understand their journey and their travel. Bill Gates' dad became very, very successful, but Bill Gates' father didn't start out very successful at all. And he fought and worked his way hard to become a respectable attorney. I've actually used and actually I'll recommend his father's law firm, 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗓. Now, Mr. Gates Sr. passed away. Bill Gates II passed away some years back, but 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗓, good law firm based out of Washington, and they grew with Microsoft, if that makes sense. And Bill Jr., or Bill III really is his real name, Bill Gates III, because there's another junior actually. He should be Bill Gates IV, but Bill Gates III, very easily could have been doing something else. And, his father was a successful attorney. They happened to go to school, where they had a computer early. And that was luck, but it worked out. And, being Bill Gates is not the be all end all. I think Bill Gates would tell you that. But the point is, the chance to achieve some ideal or some happiness, the chances that you could achieve a gamut of outcomes, they certainly improve if you have options to begin with, but they're not, they're necessary, but not sufficient, right? You still have to have the drive within you. Bill Gates is a special person. His brothers and sisters, even though mostly genetically the same, still didn't have that drive. And so, it is fairly random, but I think if Bill Gates were black and born in a single family household in the Bronx, there's no pathway to success. There's no pathway to the kind of success he had, the way he had it. Now, can you find another pathway? Sure, but there's Bill Gates III had thousands of pathways. He could have become a successful musician. He could have become a successful, virtually anything else, writer. But instead, ushered in the computer revolution. But the same kid in the Bronx doesn't necessarily have that same pathway. And I think if you've actually lived it, which, in some ways I have, you actually lived it, you know what I'm talking about, because, yes, you can find a way out, but that way out, if the maze is so elaborate, it's such a contraption to get out of the maze you're in, you may not be able to do it. But if the road is paved with gold for you to get out, it certainly helps. So, getting out of the hood for me was a mix of my own determination and good parenting. A little bit of bad parenting too, and just kind of my own determination. But I don't know. I really don't know all the answers to these things, but I do think that prison was really interesting experience. I'll say that. Yeah, exactly, Mac. I mean, the high IQ random dice roll is no different from when you play a role-playing game and you get character points. You get those character points. You stack them all in intelligence, and your character might succeed. Well, I mean, again, the upper-class father that Bill Gates II became, he didn't start with. So you had this like doubling of an effect from the father to the son to the grandson. And that's, in a lot of ways, the American dream. Yeah, Gates's lawyer married very well. Gates the lawyer, Gates Sr., married very well. And that's, look, it's a partnership. Same thing. If you want your son to be really successful, you got to find a good mom. You got to make some success yourself, and then maybe he's got a chance to be the next Bill Gates. But you go marry DJ Khaled girl. Sorry, I'm making fun of her too much. What's she gonna unlock? Her father's in the cartel. You know how many chicks like her I've disregarded and discarded in my life? Bothered with that kind of thing. You're looking for the mother of your children. You're not looking for a cursing all the time for no reason. Weird drunk maniac. You want a classy lady who's maybe accomplished something in her life. Well, maybe you don't want a woman who's on YouTube making a fool of herself every day. How about that? You really want to marry Mr. Beast? Can you imagine what my mother would say from the old country? Your wife's on YouTube with her chest out, cursing like a maniac, sounding like half a man. 𝗥𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗏, what have you done? And she would spit on the ground. Tuh. She's got that ugly tattoo. Oh my God, tattoo. What kind of woman gets a tattoo? My mom would take her shoe off just like that. You don't understand. Not every guy wants some tattoo. You might like that. But some of us have traditional values. One classy lady. What's she doing with the tattoo and her tits out? No, I don't have any tattoos. Listen, I don't judge anybody that's got one, but I'm not sure I'd want my wife with the visible tattoo. What's next? Face tattoo? Neck tattoo? When do you draw the line? Yeah, listen, you like tattoos? You like tattoos. Good for you. But I do come from a generation and a time when, you couldn't get a job working for Jim Cramer or Tiger. You show up with some tattoos. It's not a really thing at the time. Now things have changed a lot. But business professionals, you don't see so many CEOs out there with tattoos. Could you imagine hey, let's go take a look. Let's look at the management teams of these companies, okay? Let's pick, let's go to our list here, okay? This will be fun, I promise. All right, let's look at the largest companies, okay? Let's look at the Apple management team. Okay, this is the Apple leadership. Who here's got the tats? You think Catherine's got some tats? How about Eddie? How about Craig? He's got sleeves? You got sleeves? There's not too many women in this management team. General counsel, and HR. It's very stereotyped. All right, so, maybe those guys look a little conservative. Let's go to NVIDIA. All right. Craig's definitely, Chris. Chris definitely tatted up, right? He got a tattoo of the company's logo, but he's not looking to get inked again. Yeah, that's different. And it's not visible. Look at these people. You think they have tattoos? Tim, look at Tim over here. Colette on the conference calls. 𝗕𝗢𝗀𝗃𝗧𝗏, he's never seen a tattoo from 𝗕𝗏𝗀𝗘𝗍𝒫. I like how they have 6 people in the company management team. Apple has like 60. Let's see, Microsoft management team. Kathleen might have a tattoo. Okay, that's real. She's the head of HR though, so probably not. Satya, he's got a Bill Gates tattoo right in his chest. Amy, Brad Smith. You think Brad's got a tattoo? Gang tat, tramp stamp, face tats. I think Brian's got a tattoo, the CFO. Matt Garman. Oh, Matt might have a tattoo. Matt looks like a head of AWS. Silicon Valley. You got the wrong idea there. This guy's the dean of the MIT Computing Center. Andrew Ng is on the board of Amazon? Andrew Ng, not Yang. Not Palmer's the man, but, if you accomplish something like that, then you could do what you want and say what you want. Yeah, I'm sure TM. Look, everybody's their own individual. I'm not trying to pass undue judgment. I'm just telling you one perspective that, growing up in the early 2000s, you couldn't walk into a hedge fund or a trading floor with tattoos without people saying, I have a kitchen towel here. I'm going to put it up. This is a disaster. I'm the least handy person in the world. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna fall down. Shift the desk. Okay, that's a lot smarter. But the problem is, there's a bunch of stuff on the floor that I have to move to. But that is probably the best idea, by far. Block out the sun. This is a kitchen towel. This is just a normal kitchen towel. Kitchen is right here, so that's the only thing I can think of. Get paper and tape over the window. Okay. Yeah, I could use this blanket. I just don't know there's nothing I could do to nail it up and I'm pretty sure wifey's gonna be upset if I use this. Oh, I see one of her purses. Give me that. Oh yeah, need that. There's a couple bills in there. I'm gonna put that on DraftKings. Okay, so the window doesn't open. This is a decorative window. If I had a hammer, I'd try it. Okay, I have these paper towels. What if I put the paper towel there? Doesn't seem to be doing anything. No, that doesn't seem to do it. Here's the problem. This is my view. So maybe just make the monitor brighter. That makes sense. Tape. I don't have tape. I wish I had tape. I don't have tape, but I have this. Smart. It's adhesive. Works just as well. The sun's coming in harder. There are some ants here. The screen, that's not a bad idea. Maybe make it a little brighter. Oh, stand up the couch. I like that idea too. Oh, it's heavy. Let's my back out. Okay, this could work. This is like a little blanket thing, but I don't know how to attach it to this would work great. But there's nothing I can use to hang it. Oh, I see some cobwebs up there. This is hard work. I'm already tired. I don't have tacks. What tacks? Where do I get tacks? See, I told her about this. I said I needed drapes. So if there's 500 missing from her purse, it ain't my fault. I said we need drapes. How am I going to stream without the drapes? Oh, I like that idea. Blanket fort. I could kind of construct a box around the monitor, and then just like my head is in the box.
That's probably the best way to do this.
Many times I've been asked, how am I so stupid and smart at the same time? I can't tell you. That I don't know.
My lawyer used to say that.
You can't threaten Hillary Clinton, Martin. I said, I didn't threaten her. He said, well, what did you say? I said, yeah, the judge's going to say you threatened her.
No, my lawyer's awesome.
I don't care what you have to say. Maybe I do like the Arab money. I can't see the screen. It's not gonna work. By the time I figure this out, the sun will already. It'll be really nice, like something large that I can just put up against this wall.
Oh, I might have it. No, it's not sturdy enough.
Okay, here. I'm gonna build a system of pillows. And it's gonna be like a tightly integrated wall of pillows.
She's got a lot of pillows for some reason.
You know women with their pillows, you know? All right, here's another one. I'm slowly gonna erect a number of pillows. They're falling. They need to, okay. I should just cave and build curtains there before going to get nice blinds like I've been hoping. You get something before I find all your purses and jewelry. The problem is it's like a house of cards. Like I can't keep stacking pillows. They don't really have a foundation. We're building a wall of pillows. It's actually a little bit better. Use water and paper towel to stick to the window. Okay, listen, I can do that. Problem is the light still kind of comes through. She's talking about going to Lowe's. Let's see how our project is looking now. What do you think? It's good, right? This is the finest Albanian engineering. Baby. I'm just trying to get this stream money, baby. The stream pays you $30 a month. Have I ever met a self-funded trader that's made a living? Of course. Like hundreds of them. The only thing that's working is the just get a blanket, but how? But how, Sway? If I had a blanket, we can afford blinds, okay? We can afford blinds. No, not 𝗲𝗎𝗃𝗬𝗕. Close. I think adjusting the monitor brightness may actually work the best. I guess these things get dry because the water that's holding the towel to the window is also getting sunlight. So this is kind of a 𝗕𝗺ic system. It's a rheostat. Nothing to hang the blanket on. It's the first thing I would have done. I mean, I could turn the stream off. Okay, the sun's kind of setting a little bit. It's moving over the house as time goes on, which is good. I do think a blanket would work. The problem is the camera. I can't open the window. It's not a window that opens, the other one opens.